Good afternoon. This is Chris Brecher with Brecher Trading, January 5th, Friday, January 5th. This is the free video for non-subscribers, the normal video for subscribers. This will be the only free video you get during the week now. Subscribers get all the videos, all the content. So today was all about, I'm finally live and I have a morning chat for an hour, a afternoon chat for an hour. In the morning chat, we had some great short ideas. Then the narrowness of the rally, there was very few things that I saw that just took off by the end of the day. So the last hour chat, we didn't do much, just to let you know. Brecher Trading. Right here. Started yesterday. And I'm sorry if you're a subscriber, but I need to point this out for non-subscribers. We have a forum, videos, nightly videos. Really snazzy on how this works here. Morning chat, afternoon chat with the archive on the right. And it's also open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. when I'm not on live, where you can just exchange ideas with other traders. Yeah, the morning ideas, very neat. I publish this every morning. As you see on here, look at that. Really cool in here. Really neat on how many of these worked also, which is really cool. We have special events where I'm going to sit and have like a Wednesday Ask Me Anything, where you can tune in to the Zoom room and I'll be on from 7 to 7:30 at night, and I'll be on live where you can ask me anything. Now, one thing I want you to realize on the chat, I'm monitoring the chat all day. I'm trading all day. I'm not sitting here playing golf. I'm on all day trying to answer questions, just not sharing my screen. And I'm not sitting there. On live microphone. So I'm on live for a couple hours a day. But the rest of the time, I am monitoring the chat. Contributed a lot of ideas in there. I just want you to realize how that works in there. So what did the market do today? Just surged, just like it has all the other days in here. But before you say, oh, it has to do with this, that, I want you to realize the fastest way to lose money in this business. The fastest way is, number one, to have personal feelings about politicians and for that reason being bearish the market or justifying why you're short. You have to trade price. It's all that matters in here. Number two, I know the Investment Institute is extremely bullish, the survey, 60% bullish, which uses a reverse indicator, but keep in mind that's only one reason. You have to have at least three reasons to short a market. Because look at this. This is called concurrent mode when everything's going up. Now, on those ideas for 2018, I mentioned that one day we're going to have the S&P up 50 and close down for the day, and that'll probably be it. But as you see in here, there just isn't anything that looks bad yet. Are we extended? Absolutely. Is the advanced decline line really poor in this? Yeah, it's a pain in the rump unless you buy just index options. I mean, it's just very frustrating. But the idea is everything is going up except obviously the VIX in here. Crude oil having a little stutter step. It had a mini bear flag in the opening, and it was great shorting the oil stocks on the opening. That worked wonderfully. In fact, most of the bear flags from yesterday worked great today, and we'll get into that a little later. But I want you to see this. See on how these are all going up? Copper, palladium, even you're starting to see some stuff with like soybean meal in here and oats. Look at cotton. The unemployment report didn't matter today. I know that the non-farm payrolls were less than expected, but if I'm the Fed, I'm sitting there with FinViz and I'm looking at the commodity saying, who cares about the non-farm payrolls? There are price pressures in the economy. So what's the moral of the story? And I'll show you next. You short bonds on the opening. My goodness, look at this. Let's take ZB. Really at 8:30 in the morning, you short bonds. Why? Because the bond market, it doesn't matter what the non-farm payrolls are. Now, if you don't want to just blindly short them, because who knows in this type of market whether this spike means they'll be up 2 points, then do me a favor. Go and connect the dots in here. What I mean by that is the more times you can connect the dots, and that's going to be the theme of the video, this video, connect the dots. Look at that. The second it broke, you make a quick, my goodness, you make 8, you make 20 ticks. You make 16 to 20 ticks. That's a lot of money. Now, we're going to go into bonds a little later, but I'm just saying that was what I saw in that. In fact, I'll go into bonds now. I want you to see something because I'm pretty excited about it. I want you to realize the overall market is extended, but we don't have any negative divergences yet. I'll show you with Thinkorswim what I'm talking about. But I think the bond market could be where you could make a lot of money. Look at this chart here on the right. Ledge, 150.18. I drew that a little wrong. 150.18. On the right, look at this line you can draw. And I'm going to show you 2 different images in here because I think it's really important. You have a bear flag that if it breaks that bear flag, it breaks this head and shoulders, which then gets you down to 150.18. And if it breaks there, we have very little support until the 146 is in here. The other is going to a 30-minute chart of the bonds. You can see that pretty darn close what I'm watching in here. Right there. If it doesn't hold there, and all we did today, you might ask, why didn't we break down? We didn't break down because we got oversold too quick. But it worked off the oversold in a really crappy way. This easily could have another leg down on Monday. No doubt about it. So I'm going to be watching that carefully in there. And we'll be watching the commodities against it. So just keep that in mind. So overall market. We're going to go and take a number of charts in here and I'll show you. ESs. Nothing looks bad yet. Does it look like it's extended? Obviously, it looks like it's extended, but that's not a reason to get short. Obviously, it's overbought on a daily. Obviously, it's overbought on a 30. It's overbought on everything. But the point is you haven't crossed anything yet. And if we do cross, it's going to create an oversold so quick. It's always the quality of the oversold rally. If it's lousy, then we can, we can go down. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, I'm glad you can hear in there. That's great. Zoom is messing up where you can hear me. I'm glad I'm not cursing or anything. That's pretty funny in here. I was mad because it messed up before. But everybody have a good night. I'm actually doing the video, so I'm sorry if you heard this in here. So sorry about that little technical issue there, but we have it all done now. So just keep that in mind. I left the mic on and I got really pissed off because I couldn't get my mic to work. So I hope that nobody I said anything wrong. I just said I'm an idiot and that's about it. But that's what I say with trading all the time anyway. So that's the way it goes. But like you see in here, bull flags galore. The problem is when you have this narrow a rally, the problem in there is that you better pick the right stocks or buy the indexes. Do I have an objective? I know that when it acts like this, you have to have tight stops if you even think about being short. So just to let you know, there were things to short. But I want to show you the first thing that mattered in here. I'm not sure where the objective is on these. I mentioned about the NASDAQ going up to about 67.70. Well, there you go. You might ask, where did you get that magical level? I was just taking the symmetry right here. Take this on the right. Boom to boom. That's it. And that gets you, I mean, it could go even higher. It could go to 67.20. But I was looking at that. And that's what I was watching, is just sort of adding up the previous move. But I want to show you day trading wise, because, I traded on the floor for 8 years. What I look for in day trading. So what happened today? And I'll show you. This is a perfect example of how you get yourself hooked if you don't watch out. Here's the ES on the left. Remember, every trading desk, every trader is watching the same things we're watching in here. So you have the ESs on a 2-minute chart. Now keep this in mind, this chart right here. In the middle, I'm going to put the IWM, the Russell. I'm going to put that on a 2-minute chart. You could put these on 5-minute. A 5-minute work too if that's just too overwhelmed. 2 minutes better. We'll just put 2 minute. And on the right, I'm going to put the net New York advanced declines. So what happened in here? And this is a really interesting tell if you're day trading in here. The advanced declines were going down, down, down. So up here, you have the ESs right here. 9 o'clock this morning, started rallying. And the IWM, and I'm going to zoom out a little so you can see it, started falling like a rock at noon. And the advanced decline started falling like a rock. It was weak all day, but it fell like a rock to get to zero. So now we have the Russell here. We have this, but look at the S&Ps. The low in the S&Ps was 9:30 in the morning. This is 1 in the afternoon. Look how this held like a champ. So what happened was the second the IWM got above that ATR trailing stop, and the second that the advanced decline refused to go any lower, then this was a breakout. And that's exactly what happened. So this had a bull flag. If you had a short right here, you better stop yourself there. I mean, just have a tight stop. But the conditions that might have made the market go down, extremely poor advanced decline line, the IWM breaking down, didn't happen. And when the stimuli that were your reasons to be short the ES in the first place reverse, you better get yourself out of any short. So definitely keep that in mind today. So, I mean, that's how a day trader trades. The other thing, and I'll show you what worked today. Bonds, TLT. We were shorting the TLT right after the opening. Shorted it here, got stopped here, shorted it again here. Made 60 cents. That was a good one. Show you another one. I'm going to show you 2 charts of this. Macy's, 15-minute chart on the left, 2-minute chart on the right. Connect the dots. That's the theme today. Notice Macy's. When it broke there, connect the dots. Right there. The minute it broke, that was good for 50 cents. And if you're trading options, there were people in our room that were buying the 2450 puts at 17 cents right here, and they sold them at 36 cents. I mean, that's a double. That's the exit point. In this type of market, you got to take what you can get. Let me show you a couple more. Micron Technology. Now, what's fascinating about Micron on a 2-minute chart, let me just show you. We're going to put Macy's on the left, totally unrelated to Micron, obviously. But we're going to put Macy's on the left, and we're going to put Micron on the right. Can you believe that those are in different industries? Now go in and take the trend line. Macy's on the left, Micron on the right. I'm telling you, these things work. This was good for $1. If you would have sat there and bought the 46.5 puts were 8 cents, they went to 75 cents. Those are the kind of things you have to pick and choose. Remember, there was some stuff about vulnerabilities with a couple of called Spectre and Meltdown that affect some of the chip stocks. So that was one way to trade. Here's another one. NVIDIA. Go and check NVIDIA in here. It's funny, I just mentioned NVIDIA with cards. The second I mentioned shorting NVIDIA, my fan went on my card. I'm telling you, I think the Russians are in my computer listening to everything I'm doing. It's pretty funny in here. So, but my actual, the fan is just kicked in the second I mentioned NVIDIA. But go and check this out. This is how day traders also trade. Look at Micron on the left and look at NVIDIA on the right. And notice that Micron got tattooed here, and then NVIDIA formed this under the ATR trailing stop, and sure enough, it went down another point. I shorted it in front of everybody in the chat, just 20 shares, just to show how it works, and boom, make 50 cents in a second in there. It was really exciting. The other thing I want to show you about relationships, go put Goldman Sachs on the left on a 2-minute chart. Here's another thing I trade. Go put JP Morgan. One thing I want you to realize about trading, about any kind of day trading, is always take the most expensive stock in the group or the leader in the group. Goldman Sachs is the leader in the group. Everybody, including me, wanted to short JP Morgan right here. But I was keen off Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs started rallying at 13, right there. 1340, Goldman Sachs broke out of this. So if you go back and you zoom it like this, and you say, oh, this is a bear flag. Well, it broke right here. It got invalidated, and look at the time. 13:58 Eastern, 1:58. Well, that told you right then not to mess around with JP Morgan. JP Morgan broke out of this at 2:30, 2:15. You would have avoided disaster. I'm telling you, these things really work. So what are we going to do for next week? Well, the first thing we're going to do in here is we're going to look at things like commodities. Now, crude oil had a little bear flag. In fact, this was our best trade of the day. I might as well show it in here. Crude oil has had a massive rally. We know that. Here's a daily chart of crude oil, straight up. But go and look at an hourly chart, and it broke under the ATR trailing stop. Formed a little bear flag in here. Well, this morning, crude oil was down 40 cents right on the opening. The market opened up. So what did we do? We shorted Exxon on the opening. Go and check out Exxon on a 2-minute chart. Yes, sirree. Go to the chat. We shorted it at 86.73. And I bought it like in here, 86.54. A lot of people stayed in it, got overbought in a downtrend, and they got out at the lower leg. What's the moral of the story? Take this and make it naked. So, you know, this is PG 17 here. Remove all studies. Now, I did this wrong. Let me just show you. We're going to reset the chart default. We're going to take out every study but the ATR trailing stop. Almost naked. And now we're going to show it on a 2-minute chart. I'm telling you, if you're going to trade this market from the short side, you got to pick and choose what you can in here. That's what I'm talking about. It broke here. You have your stop at your ATR trailing stop. It never stopped you out. Then it's overbought in a downtrend. Look where you would have gotten stopped, 86. Heck, in this type of market, that's a huge victory to make 70 cents in Exxon in here. Just that's the easy trade. So just keep that in mind. There was another part of this. Crude oil down on the right. Look at CVX on the opening. CVX looked down 50 cents on the opening. Let me go put it on a 2-minute chart. See this? When this was down 50 cents on the opening, and usually CVX and XOM mirror each other, Exxon was up. Let's put it in here so you know what I'm talking about. Right there. So this was here, and this opened here. So when this got tattooed, this finally followed. These things really work. I love companion stocks. So keep that in mind. So what am I going to do next week? Number one, I am going to look over the weekend to see what stocks are starting to roll over. There aren't a lot of stocks that are rolling over. You might say, well, how about Micron? It acted like dirt today. Let me just show you. I'm going to reset this to chart default. And you're going to see on a daily chart that it had a lousy day, no doubt about it, but look at this. It's still in an uptrend. Now, is it overbought on a daily? Sure, and I'll go ahead and I'll trade it from both sides, long and short next week. I love trading Micron because it's so liquid. But the moral of the story, it's not a breakdown whatsoever just because it had a lousy day. NVIDIA, you might be like, oh, it was only up $1. It sold off on the close. It is overbought. If you even think of shorting NVIDIA, you have to stop yourself at the old high, 218.67. That's all I can tell you. But I don't have enough reasons to short it. Hourly, it hasn't crossed anything. 15-minute, you'll see. It has. But then it got right over it. Why did this not work? because when it's in a longer term uptrend, crosses the ATR trailing stop, sell signals are going to be extremely shallow, while buy signals are extremely explosive. So you got to keep that in mind in here. So I'm going to be watching these stocks next week. I think, and this is what I'm going to really be watching. The Amazons, the Googles, the Apples, do they look like they're turning yet? No. But I think they're going to be the tell. When those reverse, I think then the market's going to reverse. Why would I even think the FANG stocks would reverse? Because this narrow rally has made a certain segment go up so much that mutual funds now have too much of a weighting in too few stocks. They have to lower their weighting in these. That does not mean to short it. You have to have some reasons. I don't have enough reasons. I don't even see, like anything yet. There's no Head and Shoulders, nothing. So until I see that, I'm not going near these stocks. The other thing is takeover stocks. There's all of a sudden rumors about Amazon buying Wayfair or Costco because they're so flush with money, all these companies. I'm not going near buying these for a rumored takeover. I'll watch unusual option activity, which I didn't see, but you're going to see things like Wayfair. Wayfair acted really lousy on the opening and then popped up. One of my favorite tricks is to short takeover stocks on Monday if they don't get taken over the weekend. Most takeovers are over the weekend. What happened? It closed near its high for the day. The rule is if it closes near its high for the day and the market pulls it up on Monday, these usually are going to sell off to where they started the day in here, which is almost 78.5. So just keep that in mind. That's what I'm going to be trading. I love trader tricks. Are there bullish ideas? Yeah, PANW. Still looking good. It's still in buy the dip mode. No doubt about it. Go and put it on an hourly chart. Boeing. And this is the danger in here. Do you buy Boeing after a parabolic move up 12? You see, I warned you yesterday that probably wasn't a top. It was probably going to be in catch-up mode is what it did. I cannot touch Boeing, but I'll show you some of the laggards that could start having to move up. Regeneron. Now, I'm not saying you have to go crazy yet, but this is I have these on my watch list. Regeneron and Chipotle. What's the problem with some of these? And I'll give you one more. Allergan. And what's the problem? They haven't broken out and they're getting overbought at resistance. See all that? That doesn't mean I'm not going to try to lean short later when they work off the overbought. If you want to buy these stocks, you want to see them sit here for like a week and work off this overbought. Go to Chipotle. This could be a big old Head and Shoulders right here. Nice old Stewie pattern. If you're new in here, when I highlighted inverse Head and Shoulders, a lot of times it looks like Stewie from Family Guy. So just keep that in mind. If this does get above here, which I'm worried because it's already overbought, but this could easily go all the way to 420. So just keep that in mind. Obviously on the right, you see the resistance. I'm not going to go crazy. If I even think of doing that, I'm going to do out of the money call vertical spreads for, let's say, March. But you got to be sure when the earnings are. So go in here. My daily events aren't working. And you realize the last time was on October 24th, which means they're coming January 24th. I don't know if I want to mess with it until earnings. If you want to take a shot, go and take a shot out to March or something. I'm going to probably wait till after earnings because remember, this has had a massive move down. If it opens here on earnings, big deal. You have more than enough time to still get on the rally train. So keep that in mind. So I hope all these help. Thanks for being with me. And I hope you get a chance to test out the video on our site. And I hope you enjoy the video. Have a great weekend.